You know that moment when you realize you've become the villain in your own romantic comedy? That's where I found myself at 3 a.m., standing in my bathroom, staring at my reflection like some discount Patrick Bateman, except instead of skincare routines, I was spiraling over pornography. I whispered something to the mirror that I'd never said out loud. I like porn more than I like my wife. The bathroom tiles didn't crack. The earth didn't swallow me whole. But my marriage was about to. My name is Matthew Rodriguez. I'm a successful insurance adjuster. Yes, I know, the jokes write themselves. 14 years married to Janet, a brilliant accountant who can calculate your tax savings faster than I can calculate my regrets. We have 2 kids who think I'm the coolest dad in the world, which shows you how low the bar has gotten in suburban parenting. From the outside, we're what people call relationship goals. But behind every perfectly curated family Christmas card is a man who spent an hour in the garage before the photo, not organizing tools, but organizing his browser history. It started innocently enough. Doesn't every midlife crisis? A little stress relief after work. A quick detour when Janet was at girls' night dissecting the latest psychological thriller, completely unaware she was living in one. Here's the thing about addiction. It's like a subscription service you never remember signing up for, but somehow you're paying premium prices for basic cable content. What started as occasional became routine. What was routine became necessary. What was necessary became more important than actual human connection. The first red flag should have been when I started scheduling my bathroom breaks around my wife's yoga schedule. The second was when I bought a privacy screen protector for my phone and told Janet it was for work confidentiality. The third was when I genuinely got excited about grocery shopping alone because it meant 45 minutes of uninterrupted me time in the car. But Janet isn't just an accountant. She's a forensic accountant. The woman who can find discrepancies in Fortune 500 companies definitely noticed when our internet bill tripled and I started taking 40-minute showers. The night she confronted me, she didn't yell. That would have been easier to handle. Instead, she sat me down with a spreadsheet, because of course she made a spreadsheet, color-coded by time of day, tracking patterns in our internet usage that would make the FBI jealous. "Matthew," she said, sliding the paper across our kitchen table like evidence in a courtroom. "You've been averaging 4 hours a day. That's more time than you spend sleeping. How do you argue with pie charts? You don't. You promise to change, delete apps, and buy a phone safe with a timer lock. Then you spend 3 days researching how to hack phone safes, which is when you realize you might have a problem that requires professional intervention." So I did what any desperate man in denial would do. I told Janet I was going to a professional development conference for the weekend, and instead checked myself into a digital detox facility that specialized in behavioral addictions. These places exist, and they're exactly as awkward as you'd imagine. $7,200 to have a life coach named Rainbow take your devices and make you discuss your relationship with technology, while sitting in a circle with other guys who'd been caught with their virtual pants down. The irony wasn't lost on me that I was paying someone to lock up my phone when I could have just given it to my teenage daughter for the same effect. The program worked for exactly 9 days. Then I discovered something that changed everything. My neighbor's unsecured Wi-Fi network was named FBI Surveillance Van 2. I spent 20 minutes trying to connect before realizing it was just Bob from next door having a laugh. But that desperation, that moment of considering digital trespassing for a pornography fix, was my rock bottom. Well, I thought it was my rock bottom. Turns out addiction has a basement level I hadn't explored yet. I started using my work computer. Big mistake. Not because of company policy, but because I forgot that Linda from HR had remote access to all our systems for productivity monitoring. Linda, who organizes the office birthday parties and knows everyone's anniversary dates, had a front row seat to my digital shame spiral. The next Monday, I got called into a meeting with HR. I prepared for immediate termination and public humiliation. Instead, Linda handed me a pamphlet for the Employee Assistance Program and a list of local therapists. "Matthew," she said gently, "everyone goes through rough patches. The company wants to support you getting the help you need." I wanted to disappear into the industrial carpeting. This grandmother of 5 was treating me with more compassion than I'd shown myself in months. That afternoon, I did something that seemed logical at the time but was actually insane. I reformatted my work computer to eliminate evidence. Except I forgot to back up 6 months of client files first. Tuesday morning, I had to call 15 different people to explain why their insurance claims had vanished into the digital void. My boss, thinking I was having a nervous breakdown from work stress, gave me 2 weeks paid medical leave and strongly suggested I use the time to get right with myself. Day 3 of my mental health break, I found myself at Best Buy buying a laptop I told Janet was for freelance consulting opportunities. I hid it in our basement behind boxes of Christmas decorations because nothing says healthy coping mechanism like surrounded by dusty artificial trees while pursuing your addiction. The setup was perfect. Janet thought I was in the basement organizing holiday decorations. The kids thought I was doing mysterious dad projects. I was having my cake and eating it too, metaphorically speaking. Though the metaphor gets weird when you think about it too long. Then came the email that changed everything. Subject line, "We need to talk." From an address I didn't recognize. "I know what you've been doing in your basement. Pay $3,000 or your wife gets screenshots." My first thought wasn't fear, it was professional curiosity. As an insurance adjuster, I deal with fraud all the time. My second thought was panic. My third thought was wondering if blackmail was covered under our homeowner's policy. I paid immediately. But instead of relief, I felt something unexpected. Excitement. The danger was becoming part of the addiction. The risk of getting caught was adding a new thrill to the whole experience. That's when I knew I'd crossed a line from guy with a problem to guy who needed serious help. I was getting off on the possibility of my life exploding. That's not recreational use. That's self-destruction with extra steps. The follow-up email came a week later. "Thanks for the payment. Here's some advice. Get help before you lose everything that actually matters." My blackmailer was giving me life advice. Even criminals were more emotionally intelligent than I was. The final straw came during a family movie night. We were watching some Disney movie about finding yourself, and I was only half paying attention because I was thinking about getting back to the basement afterward. My daughter, who's 12 and scary perceptive, looked at me and said, "Dad, you seem sad all the time now." Out of the mouths of babes and tweens. That night, after everyone was asleep, I went to the basement and looked at my setup. Laptop hidden behind Christmas trees, power cord snaking through boxes of ornaments, a folding chair positioned at just the right angle to hear footsteps on the stairs above. I looked like a serial killer, if serial killers were really into high-speed internet and privacy settings. The next morning, I called a therapist who specialized in addiction. Not a digital detox resort, not a life coach named Rainbow, but someone with actual degrees and experience with people who'd lost themselves in pixels and privacy windows. I told Janet everything. The work computer reformatting, the basement laptop, the blackmail payment, the fact that I'd been lying about everything for months. I prepared for divorce papers and custody battles. Instead, she sat quietly for a long time, then asked, "Do you want to save this marriage?" I did. I really did. More than I wanted my next fix, more than I wanted to avoid the shame, more than I wanted to keep living in secret.